So if you often wonder why your videos or your photos maybe look a little bit flat and a little bit boring, well, it can all be down to how you use your lighting. So today I just wanted to show you how you can get your final images from looking like this to looking like this. Hit the intro! Well, what about you guys? What's the crack? How's it going? Hope you're all keeping well today. Hope everything is good where you are. See, lighting is a really big thing when it comes to photography and videos, and how we use it can really change how our final outcome can look. Whether you're using natural lighting or a more controlled setup, this can all really help how your final image can look. And yeah, sure, playing about with your exposure and all like that can certainly be one of the things, but sometimes you just need that a little bit of added help with using different sort of lighting sources. So today I just wanted to run through some basic lighting setup, show you my overall setup, and hopefully by the end of this it can help you understand lighting and maybe how you can make your images pop for whether it's your photos or your videos. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you very much for coming to check out the video. It's always greatly appreciated. If you haven't already, just head down, hit the subscribe button and the wee bell icon so that you can stay up to date with future videos. Every time you guys do that, it helps me push out more and more content. So thanks very much for coming to check this out. So like I've said already, lighting is a really big thing, and it's all a matter of how you use it. Whether you use natural light, one light, three lights, there's so many different ways of how you could use lighting to help make your final image stand out a good fair bit more. And I mean, currently right now you can see I'm using natural light, so I have a window, pretty standard size window I have to say, to the right hand side of me here. I've got the blinds sort of semi closed over, so all I've got is natural light coming in, and natural light can certainly look really nice. It's got a really niceness over on the right hand side of my face, but the problem with natural light is it's inconsistent. So it's a bright enough day today, hasn't been too much changing of lights, but you probably will find that natural light will always change. It can either over, under, correctly expose your shot, so it'll always keep on changing. So this is why you maybe want to bring more of a controlled setup, so that way you have something that's consistent and isn't going to change for you. And that way, if you do feel like you want to brighten things up, you can brighten it up. If you want to darken it down, you can darken it down, rather than trusting what that big yellow ball in the sky is going to do. So let's get closing over the blinds and the curtains, and let's get turning on some lights here and just show you just my overall setup and why I use these here, and you can see what a difference it's going to do for my videos. So yep, like I say already, we're using natural light now. Let's get rid of this. As you can see, I've got the curtains and the blinds closed over. These are blackout curtains, so you can see there's no like light spill or anything like that coming into the right hand side of me. And yeah, compared to before, I don't have any of that lighting to the right hand side of my face, but now I have lighting on the left hand side, and that's because I've turned on my main light, otherwise known as my key light. So in the world of videography, most cinematographers would generally use a 3-light setup. That is key light, fill light, and hairline light. I personally don't use all three, but I will show you what each of them do, and I'll explain why I don't use all three later on. But either way, I'll show you what the setup looks like, and you can decide for yourself what can look the best. So yeah, starting off, I have my key light. This is the main light that's going to illuminate me for my videos, and as you can see, I have this at an angle. I can move this about if I want to, and I can change the light source. You can see I've got more in the face. I can shift it off to the side if I want to, but no, I keep it more at a sort of 45-degree angle. So I have more or less like a Rembrandt lighting effect going on. As you can see, there's a wee bit of a triangle going on in my cheek. This is known as Rembrandt lighting. So I have that at a 45-degree angle, and the main light that I use for my key light is a Rhodolite Neo 2. So the great thing about the Neo 2 is I can control the brightness if I want to add more or less, and this is what I would highly recommend if you're ever getting lights. Get a light that you can control, rather than just having a continuous light that you can just switch, it's just on and off. That's the only sort of options you have, because then that way you can say if you want to add some more or less. Like I say, if I took this out and about with me, I can then control the power if I want to. So yeah, always get a light that you can be in more of control of, because sometimes, you know, maybe you don't want to boost up your ISO so you get a much more grainier video, so that way you can just boost up the power of your main key light. So yeah, this is at a 45-degree angle, got that on that nice sort of bit of Rembrandt lighting style. This is sitting at about 50% power, So halfway there. So it's not ridiculously bright, but it is still bright enough. So what I have also done with the Neo 2 is I've put it inside an umbrella softbox. And all this is doing is it not only spreads out my light just that little bit more, but it also diffuses it, because you can see that the light is looking quite soft here. Whereas if I'd have taken this away, it would look really harsh. All the shadows would be extremely black. It'd be very contrasty and all. So I would also maybe recommend getting some form of diffusion, whether it's like a softbox, an umbrella or anything. I mean, you can pick these up generally quite cheap. You're talking about maybe anywhere between sort of £30 onwards. So I mostly use a newer 32-inch umbrella softbox adapter. So the next light that I bring in is a rim hairline light. So I have a ring light here that I picked up quite recently. It was only about a tenner, and I've just been playing about this for a little while here. But I have this sitting at a 45-degree angle behind me, and it's sitting parallel to my key light. So you would probably always want to keep it quite parallel rather than just all over the place. So I have this directly parallel to my key light. So when I turn this on, you can see what a difference it's created behind me. Not too much, but it has created just that little bit of difference. So all this is essentially doing is it's filling out the outline of myself, so that way it's separating me from the background. Because you saw before, it looked quite dark. My sort of shoulder blended into everything. My head really blended in too. So all this is doing is just separating me from the background. So I can control the brightness on this guy too. It has just a little tiny switch. I can turn it up, turn it down if I want. I generally keep it quite low, like something like that. So that way it's not too overpowering. And yeah, all the hairline light essentially is just separating your subject from the background. I mean, see what a difference that's made to my shoulder here and the chair. It's just sort of gotten rid of that sort of blackness that was originally hiding all this from the background. So yeah, I just have this sitting here, lowish power, and what a difference it's really making. So that's two lights I've got set up now, and again, I could still continue on with this, but of course I don't want to. I want to bring in more lights. So I have mentioned already two from the three that I talked about earlier on, and I just wanted to show you the other one. This is known as a fill light. So all this essentially is, if I turn this light on and keep it quite low on the power, so this light sort of sits alongside with my key light, and all this light is doing is just helping getting rid of any of that excess shadow on this side of the face. So it works alongside with my key light, but just sort of gets rid of any sort of excess darkness going on, and it just helps lighten my face up a little bit more. Most of this would be the three main setups. So again, remember, I have key light, fill light, and rim light. Personally, I don't use fill light because I like that sort of Rembrandt-y look that I have going on. I like that sort of style. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this off. This is just my own personal taste. I'm like Peter McKinnon. I like to try and keep it a bit more simple, because you see, he generally uses a one key light in a big umbrella, so it spreads out his light a good fair bit more. But I just personally just don't use a fill light. So you can see what a difference bringing in external lighting sources has done compared to whenever I was on using natural light, to using a more controlled setup where I'm in control of how I want the brightness and darkness to look. So I'm not done, by the way. I like to bring in a little bit more. It's not much, but it just helps create a little bit more of a pop to my videos, and that's when I bring in this. So this is essentially my background light, or a prop light, and all this is just, I have LED strips going along my ceiling here. I brought that in quite recently, and all this is just, I have a little remote control here, so I can actually control what color I maybe want to bring in. It's RGB. I have purple set up at the minute. I can control the brightness if I want more or less, if I want yellow or if I want white. You know, I can then say what sort of color do I want my video to look today. So all this is essentially just doing is just creating a much more nicer aesthetic to my content. So what a difference that's helped me, and what a difference bringing in all these lights have done to my video compared to whenever we were using natural light before. So let's recap. Let's have a quick run through just to see the light setup coming in step by step. So we start off with natural light just to see what the natural brightness can do to my shot. So my key light is the main light source that's going to bring out my subject for my video. So while I personally don't, you can bring in a fill light just to sort of help the shadows on the other side of your face. I have a rim hairline light just behind me that I separate myself from the background. And then lastly, I bring in my colored background light that just sort of helps create a little bit more atmosphere to my shot. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If it has been, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know as well as if you use any of these lighting setups, if you use all three, if you only use one, or you use way more lightings than that. Let me know what also other lightings you also like to use too. Be great to hear all your opinions down in the comments down below. And of course, don't be afraid to like, share, subscribe, and hit that wee bell icon so that you can stay up to date with future videos. Again, it's always greatly appreciated that you come and check out the content. But until then, ladies and gents, take care of yourselves and enjoy the rest of your day.